Hey guys, this is Locke. I am going to be sharing my CM strategy in this video and also talk about general thoughts about PvP and so on. To start with, I usually make a video, within the first day or two, but this CM I haven't really come up with a strategy because I was trying to play bruisers and I couldn't quite figure them out. And then I was trying to make Tidus work, and again I couldn't figure it out. I finally came up with something, so I am kind of sharing that strategy now, and I went 5-0 with this today. So I figured I've kind of created something that works. So Titus is my main carry. I'm running him with two different quickeners, and generally, when you're using a water carry, you're afraid that you might get one shot or two shot by Frederica and Nivlu. And Frederica and Nibble are quite common. So that's why people might hesitate to run, water units, especially water carries, in your team. But so what I've done here is that I'm using Marshari's TMR as a shield, uh, which reduces damage by 30%, and then I'm also using Yuna's TMR, which provides another different type of shield, which reduces damage by 25%. With that, my entire team actually cannot be one shot. I don't know if they can be two shot by many units in the game. So I think Federica gets a chance to go twice because right now she gets to go, and then Helena's Quicken is going to go off on Federica again. And so I want to attack. So and I was running different renditions of this. I found out that one of the biggest disadvantages to Tidus, besides lightning, is that he doesn't have any skills that are more than one range height. So he had a lot of trouble, first of all, getting to the opponent because like against rangers, for example, they have such a huge range and they'll just keep kiting him until they eventually take him down. And even if he does get to them, if they stand like two height below or two height above, he still can't hit them with anything. So I had to start running um, Ketone's TMR on him so that he can have one extra move so he can get to them faster. So here we can see that Nivlu is using she used like the defense down, and I think Federica attacked somebody with sharpshoot the turn before, because basically like she was not able to kill anyone. My Nivlu took sharpshoot damage plus his Nivlu's LB, and that still didn't kill my Nivlu. It wouldn't have killed my Tidus either. That's why he didn't bother attacking. And on top of that, my Tidus had Sentinel up at that turn anyway. So that's the main strategy, and then here I'm just showing kind of some variations. This is kind of cool because in this match, um, like well, first of all, again, my team could survive anything that the player could throw at me. Uh, but I've decided, like, in the last match, I knew that I was going to take damage on turn one. So I used both my shields on turn one. In this game, I decided that I'm probably not going to take damage on the first turn because he only has one quickener. So I decided that I would use target on my Nivlu and get her ready to have more range in case I need to like break shields or something. And especially there, like Yuna has a shield on her now, so I would probably need to break that shield soon. So I only used the shield skill because the shield skill gives you like it lasts until it's broken. It doesn't last only 3 turns, right? So I've used that shield skill already, and there are a few things I want to point out specifically here. So I am going to use the other, like, this is Marshari's TMR. It only lasts 3 turns, so I used it a turn later. And you might wonder why I'm doing this with my shell. I'm getting shell to use float on Tidus, and I actually have no idea what float does. Uh, I've heard people say this is what it does, but I haven't really seen it. But the reason I'm casting float, well, there are two reasons why I'm doing it. First of all, my opponent sees that Shell is casting something, and my opponent might think, okay, Shell might be casting Quicken, so he has to keep that in, like, he has to think about that when he is deciding where he wants to move his Warrior of Light. The second reason why I am casting float, and this is actually the more important reason for me personally, is because I have tuned both Nivlu and Shell so that whenever they cast Quicken, both of them will resolve on different turn cycles. And I don't want to mess with that. So whenever one of them does something, the other one will do the same thing. So if Nivulu moves somewhere because she needs to go somewhere, I will make sure that Chell also moves. And Chell might move like just one space, it doesn't matter. But she will move. So Nivulu casted an ability, so I made Chell move and cast an ability as well. So here you can take a look at the damage that Yuna is doing to both my Tidus and to my Nivlu, and she survived. And that Yuna has a maxed out Bahamut card. But he actually did something. So he managed to change the turn order of my units so that I will actually not be able to get Tidus to go 3 times. But that's okay because I wanted to break the barrier anyway. So I decided to use the first Quicken on Nivlu, and then when Nivlu goes, I am like when the Quicken resolves from Shell and Nivlu goes again, I'm going to use that Quicken to make Tidus go a second time. So that's what I'm doing here. So Nivlu already went and broke the barrier on Yuna. And I know that Yuna already has re-raised cast on herself. So I'm going to use Tidus to kill Yuna, and then I'm going to need Tidus to attack Yuna again after she raises herself. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And raise pops off, and now Warrior of Light gets to do something, and I made sure my Tidus was like far away enough that Warrior of Light isn't gonna have a chance to do anything. Yeah, and then once I kill that Yuna, the game is kind of pretty much like I've already won the game, I guess, because that was his main carry. So likewise, if he kills my Tidus, most likely I will lose, but my Nivlu actually could do some surprising damage as well. The vision cards that I'm using, I'm using Irresistible Darkness, which gives 35% attack to everybody. That is the only attack vision card that Nivlu benefits from, actually. The other vision cards doesn't really benefit her. I mean, so I'm using a 15% agility card. Actually, no, I'm not using that card. I'm using Siren. I am using, what am I using? Okay, I'm using Siren. Oh, I'm using, what's this? Leviathan. So I'm using Leviathan card on my Tidus. I'm using Siren on Shell, and I'm using Irresistible Darkness on Nivlu. But Nivlu is still able to do pretty good damage, even with only having one vision card that's set for her. So in this match, I'm just going to talk about what happens in the match, and then I'm going to move on to talk about something else while you guys can keep watching this match, so you have something to watch while you listen to me talk and rant. So in this match, I thought it was pretty cool because like my Tidus, so my Nivlu breaks the barrier on Agrius because Agrius casts Saintly Wall, and then my Tidus is able to like take her down with just one hit. So like Agrius usually is a huge problem for me, but like even with Saintly Wall, I'm able to take it down pretty fast, in one turn with only 2 units. So I was pretty happy about that. The second thing I wanted to talk about was that at some point my Tidus actually dies before he's able to attack his Garavel even once. But I was still able to win this game because of the damage that Nivlu does, which is still pretty respectable. So I ended up winning this game, but I thought you guys could I thought it would be an interesting match to see, because just to see how good how good Nivlu is even without the vision cards. With Frederica's Dream and then the aimed fire buff on her, she does insane damage. But even without that, she still does pretty good damage, right? Even in a supporting role. That's why I keep telling people that Nivlu is one of the characters that I very highly recommend. So I've been doing a lot of beginner videos recently, and I've told the people in the beginner videos that I'm going to make a video kind of showcasing how PvP is played at a more higher level, and this is the video that I'm kind of showcasing that. But I also wanted to talk about why I like live PvP and why it's something that why it's something that I enjoy and why this game itself is something that I enjoy. Because usually with games, I get bored in 3 months. I pick up a game, I play it for 3 months, and then I move on. This is the only game that I've played, only mobile game that I've played for over a year, and I've logged in and played a little bit of it at least once a day. So to start with, um, I think mobile games itself are a lot different than other games, and that's just by nature. I think you guys should already know this, but mobile games, the thing about them is that people play it for convenience, right? Like I don't know any multiplayer mobile games ever that doesn't have some kind of auto in it. And although like my favorite content in this game is live PvP, if there was no auto available at all for anything, I would probably not be able to play this game because I kind of need the convenience of auto to do story modes, to do like multiplayer. If auto wasn't there, I would probably just not be able to keep up. Now, like there are single player games where each stage you only have to do once and then you move on, right? But uh, like I could play those kind of games, but I like playing against other players. So that's why like single player games when I'm playing against a computer just doesn't hold my interest as much as like PvP type of games. But I used to play games on the PC on like mostly on the PC where I would play multiplayer games, and it wasn't like grindy like this. It wasn't. It didn't even have any auto battle. Like everything I did, I had to do myself, and the grind that I need was done by me. I didn't do any auto, and I liked that. But I can't do that with a mobile game because I'm in at a different stage of life where I just don't have the convenience to play things like that for hours. Like I'm playing this game for hours, but 80% of the time that I play this game, I'm doing something else. So I like that. However, there are games where it's like auto AFK arena or something where like 98% of the game is played on auto. And to me that's kind of boring too because I'm like I like to have a game where there is so much complexity and I want to be able to use that complexity to play something, but at the same time I want the game to kind of play itself too so that I don't need to spend like 4 hours a day actually playing it. So I feel like this game, especially with the way live PvP and the auto content is set up, fills that niche for anyway. It does for me anyway, because like all the story modes, all the events, all the quests, like everything is a huge grind, but all that grind can be done on auto. If the grind was less, I think that would be great, but it is what it is. But still, like I don't have to actually stay on my phone and like move everything I need to move. Like I don't have to play manually all those like repeatable stages. I can do all of those in auto, and that's great because it helps me to keep up and not fall behind while only spending a limited amount of time to make sure my characters get stronger. But at the same time, like I said, if that's all I was doing, to me it would kind of feel like a sightseeing game because I'm watching my characters in action and they're doing good, I guess. They're able to take on whatever challenges, whatever arenas, and so on and so on, and that's great. I figure out the optimal setup to get my characters to do something, I guess. That's great. But I would feel like it's a sightseeing game, And like at some point, I get bored by it. I think those kind of games like maybe hold my attention for about a month, and then I just get bored and I want to look for something else. But the live PvP is not at all like that because I have to make my own decisions. And like for example, the very first match I showed you, if that match was played in auto, I'm 99.9% sure I would have lost because the AI does not use the two shield skills. It does not use Yuna's TMR automatically. It does not use Marshari's TMR automatically. It only uses those when like certain conditions are met or something like that, where like you need the heal, and it's very hard to get it to proc. So like my Tidus, who's water element, will have lost to the two lightning elements. Like there's nothing I can do about it on auto. There isn't any like I can't configure my team to win in that situation. But playing manually, I could, and I really like that. Like when I first started playing this game early on, I had a 100 win streak in match battle, and I was using a level 89 Federica, level 89 Tancred, and level 99 Mont. And at that stage in the game, like at least 25% of my opponents that I was fighting had 3 level 99 UR units. Um, it's very rare to meet a game where you can be, have characters that are not maxed out, but are still able to beat characters that are maxed out from strategy, right? And I won 100 times in a row, which is like right now it's very hard to do that because there are like so many different compositions going on and so on. But I think that's like it's pretty difficult. But I was able to do it, and I was like, because I did it, I was like, that's why I like the PvP in this game, because I was like, it actually involves strategy. To me, this is like the end game where I have to think about everything I'm doing. If the entire game was like this, I would not be able to keep up. So I like that I can spend like say an hour a day doing PvP, and that is like my game time where I'm actually playing, and the other hours that I'm playing on the game, I'm not actually playing. I'm just setting it up and it's auto battling somewhere. I like that. Another example to show you how strategy is more important than like how much money you spend on the game or something. The last person that won CM in the last CM, the person that won and ranked the highest was basically a complete free to play player. I think he spent like some like $20 or something on the game to buy one pack, but that was it. And he didn't lose. Like of the 40 matches, he never lost once. And he played one strategy. Like he's been practicing that one strategy for a very long time, and he eventually became so good at it that like he was able to beat everybody with that strategy. So that's what I like about this. Like if you're playing a game where the AI is making all the decisions, usually like whoever spends more usually is going to win, because whoever has the higher stats wins, basically, right? But if you're controlling your characters, you can do things like take a look at Kitone. Like look at her kit. Um, the AI is never going to use transposition. Transposition basically switches the position of your unit and like a different unit. Basically, it switches Kitone with whoever you choose it to use. It's the AI is never going to use that skill. It's going to use a different skill. But there are so many strategic moves that you can do with that. But you will only be able to experience that if you're playing it on live PvP. So that's why I like live PvP. I wanted to uh, I wanted to tell you guys, why I'm so passionate about it. I've got involved in a few things on the live PvP side. There is a live PvP Discord that myself and Daniel Boone and Prodigy, the three of us run. I will drop a link in the description if you guys want to join it to learn more about live PvP, or if you have questions or even like guides or something. Like people there are very helpful, and most of the people there are also just as passionate about the live PvP scene. There's also a live PvP podcast series that the three of us also work on every week. Once a week, we talk for an hour about the news, how would that affect the live PvP scene, and then just like tips and tricks and thoughts on units and cards and stuff like that. So I will also leave a link to that podcast series, the channel that we posted on, in the description as well. If you guys are interested in checking either of those out, um, like look through it. Maybe it'll interest you. Um, anyway, yeah, that's the thought. That's my thoughts, like on the game. On this is my CM team right now in action. It's been going on for like the last 20 minutes while I've been talking. Uh, and I really enjoy it. I don't know what to say. Like I think people are turned off by like you're waiting for the other person to act, and it could take up to 30 seconds. But if you actually try playing it on manual yourself, you will find that you're using up to 30 seconds as well. There was another YouTuber who wanted, like, he usually does auto battles, but one time he wanted to try playing manual because, like, he's like, hey, what if I use this skill or something, right? So he clicked manual, and right before he clicked manual, he was like, yeah, this is why I don't like a live PvP, because a person takes 30 seconds to act. That's what he said. And then he switched it to manual, and he had his Victura moved to do somewhere, and then he realized that where he moved his Victura, he couldn't he didn't have the range to hit the unit. So he wanted to move. So he's like, oh crap, okay, I can't move there. Okay, let me move somewhere else. He moved somewhere else, and he found that okay, maybe he should have used a different skill. And then by the time like he decided what skill he wanted to use, he had 2 seconds left, and he misclicked and moved had Victor move a different spot. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that he didn't want to wait 30 seconds for his opponent to make a move, but when it came to his turn, and it might seem like, oh, you're just you're spending 30 seconds to use the first move on your list, but you're actually thinking of so many decisions, right? And you'll only realize that when you're playing it yourself too. Like if you're playing manually, that's when you'll realize how little these 30 seconds is and how quickly it goes. Um, but anyway, I mean, I encourage everyone to give it a try. Like you will not win when you start, especially if you're like a newer account. And again, just to give an example of that as well, last CM I came in I think rank 19 because uh, like overall that was my rank. But this CM I want to try playing like bruisers. I want to try playing Tidus. Usually I play like fast double quicken rangers or something like that, right? I don't play a bruisery type. And I was playing like El Sorel before, and I'm not used to it. So I lost like quite a bit. I have 8 losses over the last 4 days, and like I was ranked like I think ranked 300 something when I started today because of all these losses, right? And even if I have like extensive PvP knowledge, I don't know how to play bruisers. Like it took me 4 days to even come up with some kind of strategy, and that is with my background in live PvP, right? So imagine like if you haven't done this at all and you're starting out, you probably are gonna lose, and that's okay. That's how you learn, right? You come up with something, like come up with some strategy that you like that will work, and you will like you just keep practicing if you want to get better at it. But for me, I don't know. Like I keep repeating, this this live PvP. If this wasn't there, I probably wouldn't be as interested in the game because it would then start feeling like a sightseeing game. Like I'm watching my characters do something, but I can't control them. And like there are so many skills that the characters will never use. So anyway, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are interested in live PvP, definitely check out the Discord that I'm going to post, and maybe you can also check out the podcast series that I am going to post as well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Take care now.